Hey guys, in this session we're going to be looking at the Level 1 MCAT paper from 2020. This is day 2's version of this paper. So how this video works is that I actually go through each question, tell you guys what you need to do for achieve merit and excellence. Now the best way to watch this video is to pause the video at the start of each question, try the question out by yourself, and then unpause the video to check my answers, and also to see how far you actually went with the question. Cool, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, so let's go to question 1 of this paper, guys. So question 1, what we have got here is a straightforward substitution question, is it? No, rearranging question. So what we have got here is we've been asked to figure out what W is when H is 78 centimeters. So what we are going to do is just going to replace H with 78. 5 times W minus 22. So taking the 22 across, so what we're going to do is the 22 is going to become positive. So we got 78 plus 22. And all of this is equal to 5W. So what we really have is 100 equals to 5W. And then we can say that W is equal to 100 divided by 5, which means W is equal to 20. So that's your question 1A right there. And the marking schedule does state that you need a correct solution with evidence of algebra. So you kind of need some sort of algebraic working. You can't just guess and check in this, I would assume. So that right there is going to get you an achieved. Cool. So let's go to the next question. Okay, so the next question, what we have here is we've got a picture that's surrounded by 4 cards. Okay. Find the area of the picture in terms of x. All right, so what we are looking for is the area of the shaded region right here. So that's the gray part that's been highlighted. All right, so what we do know is we can actually work out what base times height is. And for this question, I'm just going to use a few colors here just to kind of make sense here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to base, so the base of the picture is from here. So basically this is the base of the picture, and then height of the picture is going to be this part right here, the part that's actually colored yellow. Okay, so how do we actually write the base, which is colored blue? How do we actually figure this out? Now what we do know is if we take this 8x plus 2, which is the green part right here, and then we subtract the orange part, let's say the orange part is there, we're going to end up with the B, the light B. Now the orange part is the same thing as this measurement right here. So what we're going to do is we can actually say that B, which is the blue color, is going to be the green part, which is 8x plus 2 minus x, which is the orange part. So just to reiterate, there's your orange part right there. And the green part is 8x plus 2, which of course is going to give you the blue part there. So in other words, B is equal to 7x plus 2. And we literally have to repeat that same process for the height as well. So for the height, what we're going to do is we've got this measurement here, which is the pink part, which is 4x plus 3. And then we've got the red part right here, which is the same thing as saying x. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write this down first and then show you guys in the highlighted area. So h is equal to 4x plus 3 minus x. So just to kind of give you an idea, the x is the red part of it. The pink part is 4x plus 3, which of course gives us the yellow part, which is h. So when we actually do this, we're going to end up with h is equal to 3x plus 3. Now we need to find the area of this picture. So area of the picture is going to be base times height. So we have 7x plus 2 multiplied by 3x plus 3. And expanding the brackets. So if we were to expand the brackets, So, you can do it any way you want. If you know FOIL, then you do FOIL. People do it in many different ways. Stick the one that you are comfortable using. So in this case, 7x times 3x is 21x squared. Then I've got 7x times 3, which is 21x. 2 times 3x, which is 6x. 2 times 3, which equals to 6. And I cannot stress this enough. Get into the habit of simplifying the quadratic. So this would be 21x squared plus 27x plus 6. So, and this pretty much gets you a grade of merit if you were to do it right here. Now, if you form the correct expression for the area of the picture, you get an achieved, but you got to do simplification mainly for the merit grade. So forming a correct picture, so I'm probably thinking somewhere here is going to get you an achieved. Expanding and simplifying it correctly gets you the grade of a merit. Okay, so let's go to question 1C. Just have a look. All right, so what we have is an inequality question. So what we need to do first is expand the left-hand side, rearrange, and then kind of solve it out. So I'm going to expand this left-hand side. So what I've got here is I've got, lovely, my pen is taking a little bit of a break. Oh, we're back. Okay, so we're going to do 2y minus 3, bracket 2y minus 3, and all of this is less than or equal to 2y squared minus 7. So as we did before, as I said to you, pick whichever method actually works for you guys in terms of expanding your quadratic. So in this case, I'm going to end up with 4y squared minus 6y plus 9, and all of this is less than or equal to 2y squared minus 7. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to rearrange this, but I'm just going to simplify this on the left-hand side to minus 12y plus 9. Now I'm going to bring in my 2y squared and minus 7, so this will become minus 2y squared plus 7, and all of this is less than or equal to 0. So simplifying this further, I'm going to get 2y squared minus 12y plus 16 is less than or equal to 0. Nice. Well, looking at some of the papers in the previous papers, this quadratic is actually quite nice to simplify because you've got a common factor of 2. So take it out, and what you end up with is 2 times y squared minus 6y plus 8, and all of that is less than or equal to 0. Now we can take the 2 to the other side, which means 0 divided by 2 will actually just be 0. But I'm just going to put that in here just to show you guys. And what we have is y squared minus 6y plus 8 is less than or equal to 0. Now, if you've been watching some of my previous tutorials, if you haven't, do go check them out. Basically, I spent like a couple of tutorials just going through quadratic inequalities. So I am going to go show this my way. If you guys know another way that you can do it in, by all means, and if it works, stick to it, all right? Just because I do a method here doesn't mean that's the be-all and end-all. Like your teachers might have taught you this completely different way. Cool, so how do I actually go about solving this? So the first thing I do is I go y squared minus 6y plus 8 equals to 0, all right? And I know it says less than or equal to 0, but I'm just going to put it equal to 0 to solve my two solutions when it equals to 0. So in this case, I can see that this is going to be y minus 4 and y minus 2 equals to 0. So straight away I can say y minus 4 equals 0, or y minus 2 equals to 0, or in other words, y is equal to 4, or y is equal to 2. All right, now unfortunately this is not where the question ends. All I'm doing is I'm just finding those 2 points when this equation equals to 0. So here's what I've been showing how to people how to solve this, showing to other people. So the first thing is to recognize that this is a y squared. A y squared is a quadratic, or in other words, a quadratic, and it's a positive parabola. So the positive parabola looks like this. Now, at some point, this parabola has actually got two solutions because we found out what those two solutions were right here. So we've got the 2 and we've got the 4. So just to reiterate, that's where the 2 and 4 comes from. Now the next part is I want to look at when is this less than 0. Now the red line that I've actually drawn, that's when it equals to 0. All right, because that's what I did here. See how when I put this equation, getting a bit of a lag today. So basically, when I did this, when I put this equation equal to 0, I actually found those 2 points, which is the 2 and 4. That's when that the graph is actually at 0. So in other words, if I want to find out when it's less than or equal to 0, I'm basically looking at this zone here. And it's also that 2 and 4 has to actually be involved. So I'm going to write it down like this. So my solution interval is going to be 2 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 4. Now, just to reiterate, the reason why I put less than or equal to is because if you go right to the top of the question, it actually says less than or equal to. Now, if it was less than, then I would just leave it as less than. But in this case, because it's less than or equal to, I need to put that less than or equal to in the final answer. Cool. So grade-wise, correct inequality finds gets you an excellence. All right. Merit is correctly solving quadratic equations. So you could get a merit when you find these 2 points right there. All right. And if, let's say, you make a mistake solving the quadratic equation, you could still pick up a merit. Correct expansion of the left-hand side and simplification. So you got to do both, expanding and simplify that to get an achieved. And of course, you can do consistent simplification. So let's say you make a mistake, but you kind of keep carrying on. You could get a grade achieved for that as well. All right, so that is question C. We are moving to question D. Now, this question here is pretty much very similar to the day 1 paper. I mean, in fact, there's off the top of my head, it's just the corners are slightly changed. But anyway, how do we do this? So the first thing to recognize is that you've got a piece of paper and the corner has actually been kind of folded through. All right. So if we say that this distance here is 1 centimeter, then we can also say that that MN is also going to be 1 centimeters. Or in other words, if we say DP is actually 4 centimeters, because it's the same fold, we can say that this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 4 centimeters. All right, because they're actually folded up. Now, the next thing is, in this question anyway, they're asking you to find the perimeter. Now, the perimeter basically, we start from one point. So I'm going to start from this point here, and I'm going to go clockwise, all right, just because it just makes sense for me. There's nothing wrong in you going anti-clockwise. But before we do that, we kind of need to find what this distance here is, and we also need to find out what this green distance is. Now remember that a couple of questions ago when we did that kind of like highlighting things and finding out the little gaps, that's exactly what we're going to do here. So first off, we're going to look at this side here. I want to find out what the length of green is. To find out the length of green, I'm going to take the whole orange line here and I'm going to subtract the yellow line from it. So if you guys want to have a look, so let me just put that here. So we've got green, we've got orange, and we've got yellow. So in other words, we can say that the green part equals orange, take away yellow. Now green, we don't know what that is, except we can call it maybe AM because of our 2 points there. The orange part is y plus 5 minus the yellow part, which is just 1. So we can say that AM is equal to y plus 4. So all I found here is that AM equals y plus 4. So I'm going to put that down here. The next thing I need to work out is the blue part. Now to work out the blue part, what I'm going to take is I'm going to take this red line here. All right, so we've got the blue part is the same thing as saying the red part take away the pink part. All right, so the blue part is equal to red, take away pink. So the blue is PC equals red, which is 2y plus 3 minus pink, which is 4. So we can say PC equals 2y minus 1. And that happens to be the blue part right there. All right, so now that we actually have got that, what we could actually do is, yeah, this question is, it's a bit annoying, but I'll actually show you guys both ways to do this, just because we have a bit of time in this, all right? So let's actually add up all of our sides. So if we're going to add up our sides, I'm going to start at point A. I've got 2y plus 3 plus y plus 5. Then the blue part is 2y minus 1. Then I've got the 4 centimeters. Then I've got 1 centimeter. And then I've got y plus 4. Now, if I add all of this up, I'm going to get, what do we got? 8, 16. We've got 16 as my number. And then 2y plus y, 3y, 4, 5, 6y plus 16. So basically that gets you a merit right there. Okay. Now, what is it? What is it? Establishing perimeter. Yeah, so establishing the expression can get you an achieved. So doing something like this here is going to get you an achieved. And then consistent simplification. So let's say you make a mistake, you could still get an achieved. But some merit is there. Now, I want to show you guys another thing, another beautiful trick with these kinds of shapes, all right? And I know that sometimes you might be wondering, why didn't I show you that method first? But I just wanted to always show you guys both methods, just in, just so it actually makes sense. Now remember, in this diagram that we had a look at, if I just draw this diagram real quickly, right? So what we've got here is, what we have got here is pretty much a rectangle. Let's face it, because that 1 and 4, imagine if it's like this, that 1 and 4, it really doesn't matter, because what you have is, it is a rectangle that is actually folded. So we got 2y plus 3 and y plus 5. And if you think about it, the base of this rectangle, ignore the 4 and ignore the 1, the base is going to be 2y plus 3, and the height is going to be y plus 5, because it is a rectangle. So we can just go 2 times 2y plus 3 plus 2 times y plus 5, because it's like, base times 2 plus height times 2, and you should have the perimeter. So here we've got 4y plus 6 plus 2y plus 10, and if we add it up, we get 6y plus 16. And as you can see, these two answers are exactly the same answers. All right, and because of that, and yes, you can actually do the second method as well. If you understand how perimeters work, you can go straight to the second method. So like I said, I told you I was going to show you another method that's going to frustrate you, but if you understand how shapes work, and if you go back right to the top of this question, top of the question, it says rectangular piece. And because it's a rectangular piece, we know the perimeter is going to be the same, even if you just fold it just once. Okay, so let's go to the area of the shaded region. So with the area of the shaded region, we're going to pretty much follow that same idea, all right? Now, just to give you a bit of a recap on that question. So we had 2y plus 3, and we had y plus 5. We had a 1 and 4, something like this, right? 1 and 4 again. So based on this idea, we're pretty much going to do this, all right? And I'll show you how this actually works. So we're going to take this big rectangle here, all right? So basically, I'm going to take this big rectangle right here. I'm going to find the area of the rectangle, and I'm going to subtract the blue triangle and the green triangle to find the area. So first off, if I look at the yellow rectangle, so let me just draw that here. So we get the yellow rectangle, and we're going to take away the blue triangle, and we're going to take away, what other colors there? Green triangle. Then we can say that this is equal to 81, because that's what the area of the shaded region is. So remember that 81 centimeters squared is pretty much all of this area that's shaded. So we can say that this is equal to 81. So if you look at it, we've got base times height minus half times base times height minus half times base times height equals 81. So BH, that's for the rectangle. So we got 2y plus 3, y plus 5, minus half. And if you look at the blue triangle, the base is 4 and the height is 1. And because it's a repeat of that same triangle, we're going to end up with something like this. So now we need to expand the quadratic. Once again, we're going to use FOIL here. And if you're comfortable with something else, that's absolutely fine. So what we have got here is we've got 2y squared plus 10y plus 3y plus 15. And now we're going to work out half times 4 times 1, which is just 2 minus 2 equals 81. Simplifying this, we got 2y squared plus 13y. And what have we got here? 15 minus 4 is 11. And bringing over the 81 to this side, it makes it minus 81. And all of this is equal to 0. Simplifying this further, 2y squared plus 13y minus 70 equals to 0. So at this point, we do need to factorize this. And once again, as I've said to you guys before, if you know how to factorize this your own method and you're comfortable, then by all means, go for it. If you are comfortable with quadratic formula, go for it. And if you're comfortable with guess and check, go for it as well, all right? But anyway, how do I go about doing this? So what do we got? 2y squared. I just need to remember these numbers, but that's all right. I'm sure not that terrible. 13y minus 70 is equal to 0. So how do I factorize this? What I tend to do is I first take those two numbers and I multiply together, and I'm getting 140. So basically, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 140 and add up to 13. Sorry, I just realized that's negative 140 there, because negative 70 times 2 is negative 140. So what do we got here? We've got two numbers that multiply to negative 140 and add to 13. So I'm guessing that's 20, negative 7, 20, and negative 7. So what we're going to do is we are going to replace the 13 with 20 and negative 7. So we're going to split this up as 2y squared plus 20y minus 7y, and we've got minus 70 equals to 0. So at this point, I'm going to split them up into two parts. So my first part is going to have 2y, bracket y plus 10. And in my second part, I'm going to take minus 7 as a common factor, which gives me y plus 10 as well. Now I could bring in the 2y minus 7, y plus 10 equals to 0. So just to kind of reiterate, the 2y goes here, and the negative 7 pops down here. So we got two brackets that equal to 0. So we can say 2y minus 7 equals to 0, or y plus 10 equals to 0. So in our first answer, we're going to get 2y is equal to positive 7, and y is equal to 7 divided by 2. Or in other words, we can say that y is equal to 3.5. In our second case, we get y is equal to minus 10. Now, if you go back and have a look, all right, we've got, where is it? I'm looking at it right here. That's y plus 5. That means if I have y minus 10, negative 10 plus 5, it's actually not going to work. So this answer is definitely not going to work. So we need to actually say, therefore, y is equal to 3.5 centimeters, as y can't be negative, because it'll be saying negative 5 centimeters. All right, so cool. So grades wise, correct positive solution found for question gets you an excellence. Simplification of equation to quadratic, so they're somewhere there, is it? Wow, really? Looks like it. So simplifying it up to there gets you a merit. And let's say you make a mistake from there, but you kind of consistently solve, you could get a merit as well. Finding the expression for the area is achieved. So I'm thinking here you could get an achieved, and a few other points therefore achieved as well. So again, this is like consistently factorizing or consistent simplifying of the equation and so on. So as you can see, for this type of question, what's a good idea is like just get some highlighters, kind of color in and try to see what's been given to you, and then you can kind of slowly start working backwards on it. That's basically it. All right, guys, that's question 1 here. We are now off to question 2. All right, guys, so let's get going to question number 2. So what we got here? We've got some of the interior angles in any quadrilateral is 360. Find the value of W. So all we got is we've got 4 angles. So I'm going to start from P there. So 10 times W plus 3 plus Q, which is 12W plus 20, plus R, which is 10W minus 30, plus S, which is 4 bracket W minus 5. Now it says sum of all the interior angles is 360. So this is all equal to 360 degrees. So at this point, I need to expand my brackets. So 10W and 3, and then I've got one more bracket where I've got 4W and minus 10. So when I do that, I'm going to get 10W plus 30 plus 12W plus 20 plus 10W minus 30 plus 4W minus 20, and all that equals to 360 degrees. So at this point, I'm going to collect all my W's. So when I collect all my W's, what I have is 20, 32, 36W. Then I need to collect all my numbers. So it's 30, 20, that's, oh, they just cancel out, do they? That's lovely. All of this is equal to 360 degrees. So W equals 360 divided by 36. And that gives us W is equal to 10 degrees. So this question here, nice, easy kind of to start off question 2. Yeah, just gets forms and solve linear equation, gets you an achieved. That's basically it for this question. Okay, let's go to the next one. I remember this question here. And I do remember talking to when I actually wrote the wrote the answers for the previous day 1. I did it slightly different, and I think I wanted to do it in a slightly different way. So let me just go check what I had done previously. All right, so looks like I'd actually done elimination. So in this particular one, I'm going to show you guys how to do substitution. Hopefully the numbers actually work nicely. Otherwise it would really suck, but that's all right. We shall give this a crack, all right? So the first thing to notice is what we have got here is an equation of a parabola, which is given right there. And what we've been also given is we've got a couple of points. Now these points right here, we've got -1 and 10, and we've got 2, 13. And using these 2 points, we need to come up with the equation of, the equation for this particular graph. So we got to try and figure out what A and B is. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first write down W. So W is 2, 13, and V is -1 and 10. All right. Now, just to kind of keep in mind, we know that our X value in this case is 2 and -1. And as for the Y value, it's 13 and 10. So if I look at my first equation, I can rewrite this as 13 equals A times 2 squared plus B times 2 plus 3. And then for the second equation, I can write this as 10 equals A bracket -1 squared plus B times -1 plus 3. So all I've done here is there's my Y value, which I've replaced it, and there's the X value, which I've done as well. Oh, missed a byte. There we go. So there's that X value there. and the x value for the second equation. So I need to simplify those two equations first. All right, so here's my first equation. I've got 13 is equal to a times 2 squared is 4 plus b 2 plus 3. I'm going to rearrange this. So I'm going to get 13 take away 3 equals 4a plus 2b. So I've got 10 equals 4a plus 2b. Now at this point I could simplify it further, all right, because I can see that 2 is a common factor. If you want to, you could, but you know what, let's just leave it in here for now because I want to show you guys substitution method, right? So it should still work out. So the second equation is I've got 10 equals a. Now negative 1 squared, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And then I've got plus b times negative 1 and plus 3. So I'm going to rearrange this. I'm going to get 10, take away 3, because when 3 comes to the left-hand side, it's the opposite symbol, so it's minus. 1 times a is just a. Negative 1 times b is negative b. So what I end up with is a minus b equals to 7. So as I said to you guys before, that I was going to use substitution method in this particular question. Now, if you want to show, if you want to have a look at how elimination method looks like, go back to the day 1 version of this paper and have a look at how I did it with elimination. So with substitution, what I'm going to have to do is I want to get rid of one of the letters. So in this case, I'm going to get rid of the b, and I'm going to rewrite this as a equals 7 plus b. All right, because when I bring b to the left-hand side, and because it was negative on the right-hand side, the symbol changes, and we're good to go from here. Now, we've written a is equal to 7 plus b. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take, because I know that a equals to 7 plus b, I am going to replace this a in this equation, in the first equation, with 7 plus b. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to rewrite this as 10. Whoa. Let's try that again. So I'm going to rewrite this as 10 equals 4 times 7 plus b plus 2b. Once again, I know that a is equal to 7 plus b, and that's why I've replaced a with 7 plus b. Now I need to do my expanding of the brackets. So those two right there. And when I do that, I'm going to get 10 is equal to 28 plus 4b plus 2b. So rearranging this, I'm going to get 10, what do we got? Take away 28 equals 4b plus 2b is 6b. And I've got negative 18 equals to 6b. And b equals negative 18 divided by 6. Which just tells me that b is equal to minus 3. Now, because b is equal to minus 3, then what I can do is I can take the b and resubstitute it, because I know that a equals 7 plus b. And because a is equal to 7 plus b, and I know that b is equal to minus 3, I'm going to get rid of this b right here. And what I end up with is a equals 7 plus minus 3, or in other words, a is equal to 4. So there's my two answers. A is equal to 4 and b is equal to minus 3. And I've basically done this question because that's what I've asked. Find the values of a and b, and I've done that. So excellence is when you get both of these answers. For one of the answers, consistently combining the equations in one variable. So potentially you're looking at one variable. So yeah, somewhere around here. You could actually have this as a merit, or even possibly here, because it doesn't talk about simplifying, just combining the equations in one variable. So probably think there. And let's say you make a mistake, and sometimes you make a mistake and you end up with the a value and b value incorrectly, but you've done all the other, like one tiny mistake, that could still get you a merit. Forms both equations gets you an achieved. So right at the top there, forming both of the equations can get you an achieved. Yeah, so that's some of the things. And I think if you guys go and have a look at the answer schedule, you should be able to see what other things that you're actually capable of in terms of getting grades for this particular question. All right, so let's go to question 2C. These types of questions is always annoyingly annoying. All right, so what we have got is there's been a pizza that's been there for 4 days and a piece of chicken that's been there for 5 days. I still don't understand why somebody would actually have a pizza in their fridge for 4 days or a piece of chicken for 5 days. Yeah, okay, this is probably my rant right now, this pizza chicken question, all right? It's like, who the hell puts chicken out there for that long? Let alone, like, how many more days will it take until it ages of the pizza and chicken? When multiplied together, make 20. I really should edit this part out of this video. Right, so let's just do this, all right? So if we have a pizza, chicken, so the pizza's been there for 4 days, and the chicken's been there for 5 days longer than the pizza, which means it's going to be 9 days. All right, so we basically asked how many more days will it take until the days of the pizza and chicken when multiplied together is 66. Okay, right now if you look at the days that are multiplied, it's actually 36. And if you look at the next day, it's going to be 5 and 10 goes to 50. And then it's got 6 and 11, which goes to 66. So, yeah, to be honest, like this question right here, I can do this without algebra, with a couple of steps, and I've got 66 as my answer right there. So the pizza is going to be, when the pizza is 6 days old, we know this is going to, when the 2 days when multiplied, it's going to equal 66. But welcome to MCAT. You've actually got to show the working for how you actually get this. All right. We've got 4 plus D times 9 plus D equals 66. So expanding this out, we're going to get 36 plus 4D plus 9D plus D squared equals 66. So rearranging this, we're going to get, or simplifying it, D squared plus 13D plus 36 minus 66, and that's now equal to 0. So we got D squared plus 13D minus, what do we got, minus 30? Yeah, minus 30 equals to 0. So D can be factorized as D plus 15, and D minus 2 equals to 0. Therefore, D is equal to minus 15, or D is equal to 2. So as you can see, we've got to do the stuff on the right-hand side to actually prove that D is equal to 2. So we have to say, so after 2 days. So grades-wise, we are looking at a merit for positive solution for this question. So we are actually ignoring that D equals to minus 15. Achieved forms a valid equation in one variable. So there you go. So for an achieved, you have to do that question. So if you did any of this thing inside the box, you will not get anything, any grade for it. So you need the equation to actually work out to even get the achieved part of this question, all right? Consistent factorization of a quadratic. So let's say you make a mistake somewhere, but you still end up to this step here. You could potentially get an achieved as well. Spent way too long on this frustrating chicken pizza question. Moving on. Back to some more normal algebra. Yeah, so anyway, going back to this type of question here, whenever you see this type of simplify as far as possible questions, I'm going to guarantee this to you guys. The numerator is going to go into 2 brackets. The denominator is going to go into 2 brackets. You cancel out one of the brackets and you get an answer. And I would say almost all the time this question is at least a merit. All right. However, on the odd occasion, they might throw you some curveballs, but most of the time it's like factorizing the numerator, denominator, canceling one of the factors to get you walk out with a nice little merit. So what we've got here is, first off, we've got 6y squared minus y minus 2. Need to factorize that. So I'm going to multiply these two numbers here, which gives me minus 12. So I'm looking for two numbers that add up to minus 12 and, sorry, multiply to minus 12 and add up to negative 1. So what I've got here is negative 4 and 3, negative 4 and 3. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace this negative y with that negative 4 and positive 3. So I'm going to get 6y squared minus 4y plus 3y minus 2. Factorize this by parts. So separate this. I've got 2y as a common factor, which means I'm going to get 3y minus 2. And in this one, I have no common factors, which means I'm going to get 1 and 3y minus 2. So then I can say that this is 2y plus 1 and 3y minus 2. So what we've got here is that 2y ends up being here, the 1 ends up being there, and it's 3y minus 2. So the numerator is now done. So we've got 2y plus 1 and 3y minus 2. And if you look at the denominator, we've got perfect square, no, difference of two squares. So this is going to be 3y minus 2 and 3y plus 2. And straight away we can see that our two common factors, they disappear. And our answer is 2y plus 1 divided by 3y plus 2. And we've actually done simplifying as, yeah, we've simplified it as far as possible. So grades wise, this gets you a merit. Consistently simplified. So let's say you make a mistake in this crossing out business, you could get an achieved. Factorization of numerator or denominator gets you an achieved. So doing this or this gets you an achieved. All right, so let's go to the next question. Question E. That pizza question still annoyed me so much. I shouldn't let it get to me, but it's just pizza and chicken for 9 days. Good Lord. Right. Next question. We've got, what do we got? We've got a nice rearranging question. All right. Rearranging questions is, how do I say this? It's just a lot of practice, and it's definitely worth kind of, if you just look up rearranging hard questions on Google, there's like tons of questions that pop up. But just get into the habit, guys. Practice rearranging questions because if you are wanting to carry on with maths, it's super useful. And of course, it's useful if you're doing physics and chem as well. All right. So in this one, what we're trying to do is we want to give the equation for y. So we want y by itself, and we do not want GH. So we want GHW on the same side and y on one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do slightly differently. So I'm going to rewrite it like this. Because they are equal, I can do that. Equals w plus 2. Now the first thing is I want to get rid of the square root symbol. So to get rid of the square root symbol, I'm simply going to square both sides. And when I do this, my square root symbol has disappeared. And I've got h y squared plus 5 divided by g equals w plus 2 squared. Now, I do not need to expand the w plus 2 squared because this is just a rearranging equation. So I'm going to get rid of the g and h. So g, when I bring it across, it's going to become multiplied. So it's going to become h bracket y2 plus 5 equals w plus 2 squared. And g is getting multiplied here. Now I'm going to get rid of the h. So I've got y squared plus 5 equals g times w plus 2 squared. And because y is in the numerator, when it crosses to the other side, it ends, sorry, h is in the numerator. When it crosses to the other side, it pops in the denominator. Now, I need to get rid of the 5. So I'm going to rewrite this as y squared equals g w plus 2 squared divided by h. And I've got minus 5. In the last step, I will need to write this as y by itself. So y equals square root of g w plus 2 squared over h minus 5. And of course, when you take a square root of a number, it's always nice to remember that it's plus or minus that you got to chuck in there. So that's basically what we've done here. Grades wise, we're looking at an excellence for this. For merit and achieved, there is, how do I put this? There's like 4 things you can actually do. And if you do 2 of them, you get a merit. And if you do 1 of them, you get an achieved. All right. So what are some of this? Consistently rearranging square root. Rearranging the squared. Rearranging G and H. So if you get G and H on the right on one, so if you move G and H correctly, okay, look, let me just put it this way, right? There's 4 points, and you need 1 point for achieved, 2 points for merit. All right, so rearranging square root correctly gets you, that's 1. Rearranging the squared, so that is, you know, when you have that y squared and you get rid of that to a square root, that's a trick. Rearranging G and H, that's considered a skill. And rearranging the -5, or getting the -5 in there, is also a skill. So there's like, as you can see, there's like 4 things that they're looking for. And if you do 2 of them correctly, you get a merit. Otherwise, you get straight up excellence for this question if you go right to the last part. I do apologize about the chicken and pizza question. It just frustrated me. But let's go to question 3. All right, guys, so let's get to question 3. So question 3, what we have is a standard substitution question. So what we have got is we've got p equals to -3. So we need to substitute wherever there's a p with -3, and q is equal to 2. So what we have is 3 times 2 squared minus 6 plus 4 times -3 squared plus 2 squared plus 3. So expanding it out, so 2 squared is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, 12 minus 6 plus -3 squared is 9, 9 times 4 is 36 plus 4 plus 3, which equals to 49. So grades wise, you have, this is worth an achieved. You have to get a correct solution, and no correct solution means no grade. So there is actually no alternative for this particular question. All right, so let's go to question 3b. So we've got another inequality question. So in this case, what we need to do is we need to expand the brackets first. So pretty much exactly as what we've done before. I don't know what happened to my curls there, but that's all right. So 8 times y is 8y minus 8 times 2, 16. -3 times +3 is -9. -3 times y is -3y. Greater than or equal to 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times -y is -5y. So what we want to do is bring all the y's to the left-hand side and take all the numbers to the right-hand side. Before I do that, I'm just going to simplify things on the left-hand side. So this is going to be 5y minus 25 is greater than or equal to 5 minus 5y. So rearranging it, I've got the original 5y, and then this one, when it comes to the left-hand side, becomes positive 5y, greater than or equal to 5, and -25 when it comes to the other side is plus 25. So what we end up with is 10y is greater than or equal to 30. All right, so what we then have is we've got to get rid of the 10. So we've got y is greater than or equal to 30 divided by 10. And to wrap things up, we're going to get y is greater than or equal to 3. So grades-wise, inequality solved gets you a merit. Expansion of all brackets gets you an achieved, so that would be expansion. Doesn't talk about simplifying. Consistently solved from inequality. So, and if you make a mistake somewhere from that achieved to that merit area, you also get I guess, another achieved there. Cool. So that is question 3b. We go to C now. Okay, so question 3C, I'm trying to think how I did this question in the previous paper. So let me just have a quick look. Okay, so with question 3C, what I had done last time was cross multiplication. So pretty much, I mean, like, look, there is no other way to do this apart from that, unless you can find the common factor straight away. So in this case, all I'm going to do is pretty much the same thing. So, but I guess I have to kind of show you the other method anyway. So I'm just going to show you. So when we have y plus 2 as one of the denominators, and then we've got y plus 4 as another denominator, all I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite it like this. So I've got 5y minus 2 plus 3 times y plus 4, and all of that is equal to 2. Now, the reason I've kind of spaced this out is because if I look at the denominator, I've already got y minus 2 in the denominator, which means I need to multiply by y plus 4 over y plus 4. And then as for the other side, I'm going to multiply by y minus 2, and in the denominator it's also going to be y minus 2. Now the green part is just equal to 1, because if you think about it, y plus 4 divided by y plus 4 is 1, and y minus 2 divided by y minus 2 is also 1. So all I'm doing is just multiplying it by 1. But what I have done in the process is I've actually now got, now what I actually have is my denominators are now the same, if you look at it. All right, so both of them have the yellow part and both of them have the blue part. So expanding the brackets in the top, I'm going to get 5y plus 4 plus 3 times y minus 2. And because the denominators are the same, I can combine them together to leave it as y minus 2 and y plus 4 equals to 2. So at this point, what I need to do is I need to expand the brackets and the numerator and the denominator as well. So in the numerator, I'm going to get, so what I mean by is like this. I've got 5y and then 4, 3y and negative 2. And then in the denominator, I've got a quadratic equation. So I've got to do the whole FOIL method. So let's do the numerator first. So 5 times y is 5y, plus 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 times y is 3y, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And that whole thing is divided by y squared plus 4y minus 2y minus 8. Now that's all equal to 2. And I'm kind of going to carry on here. So if you look at the numerator, I've got 5y. Let me just go back here. Collect our like terms. So I've got 5y and 3y, which is going to be 8y. Then I've got 20 minus 6, which is 14. So I've got 8y plus 14 divided by y squared plus 2y minus 8 equals to 2. So at this point, I've got to cross multiply. So I'm going to take that entire quadratic equation in the denominator to the other side. So I'm going to get 8y plus 4 equals to 2 multiplied by y squared plus 2y minus 8. So once again, I need to expand the brackets. So I've got 2 times y squared, 2 times 2y, and 2 times negative 8. So here I've got 8y plus 4 equals 2y squared plus 4y minus 16. Rearranging this, I've got 2y squared plus 4y minus 16 minus 8y minus 4. Simplifying this, I'm going to get 2y squared minus 4y minus, what have I missed here? Just realized I'm making a mistake somewhere. This is not working out. Okay, I see where my mistake is. That should have been 14, which means this here should have been 14. Which means I should get minus 30. All right, so now I can see that 2 is a common factor, so I'm going to take it out. And I've got y squared minus 2y minus 15. Get rid of the 2 because 0 divided by 2 is just 0. and I've got y squared minus 2y minus 15. So now this is pretty much y squared minus 2y minus 15 equals to 0. And I can now factorize this. All right, so this, when it's factorized, I'm going to get y minus 5, y plus 3 equals to 0. Therefore, y minus 5 is equal to 0, or y plus 3 equals to 0. Then I can say y is equal to negative 5, positive 5, sorry, or y is equal to negative 3. So in terms of grades, you need both solutions for equation solve for both values is excellence. For merit, simplification of equation to a single quadratic, so we're looking at somewhere single quadratic, so I would say probably that, because that's a single quadratic, you're putting everything together, and it's got to be simplified as well. A consistent solution, so if you make a mistake from that merit point, you still get merit. Correct arrangement for numerator and denominator. So this part right here is going to get you an achieved. Just this very first line here. All right, so that's basically how you do question C. Now we are moving on to question D. Okay, so this question right here, and it's pretty much how do I say this? I just need to again have a look at how I did it in day 1. So I wanted to do it slightly differently in day 2 so that you can actually see both different ways. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to do it slightly differently, but I mean it's still, I mean either way you do it, it's still going to end up being the same, all right? So we've got x and 2x, and then we've got a rectangle where it's x and y. And then we've got another rectangle where it's z and x. So our first thing that we kind of pick up here is that x is equal to 8. Oops, sorry. So if x is equal to 8, then we know that this here is going to be replaced with 8. This is 8, this is 8, and this is 8. All right. And the second part is this. We can see that x plus y plus z equals to 10. And if x is equal to 8, we can say that 8 is plus y plus z equals to 10. Or we can say y plus z is equal to 10 minus 8. So we can say that y plus z is equal to 2. And we can say that y is equal to 2 minus z. So now that we've got that second measurement where we say y is equal to 2 minus z, I'm going to take this 2 minus z and I'm going to replace it there. And as for the z, I'm just going to leave it there for now. Okay, so let's actually replace x with the number 8. So if x is 8, then that's equal to 8, and the base is now going to be 16 because 2 times 8 is 16. We've got an 8 here and we've got an 8 there. And as for the y, we know that this is equal to 2 minus z as we found out before. So let's find the area of the triangle. Now the area of the triangle is half times base times height. So we've got 4 times 16, which is equal to 64. Then we've got area of a rectangle. So this is going to be 64 plus 8 times 2 minus z, which we can't really do anything with it, plus we've got area of this next rectangle, which is z times 8, which is going to be 8z. So we're going to expand this out now. So we've got 64 plus 16 minus 8z, because I get that from 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times negative z is negative 8z, and of course we've got the 8z in the end. Now 8z's, as you can see, they're cancelling out, so we got 64 plus 16, which equals to 80 centimeters squared. So as I said, this question, I've done it slightly different as how I did it in day 1. just to show you guys, with algebra, there's more than one way to actually get to the final answer. So correct solution showing algebraic procedures gets you a merit grade. So this one, the way that I've shown it kind of still works out. So that's a merit grade. Achieved is forming an expression for the total area. I would say somewhere, like if you were to expand all of this and write it as an expression, you could get an achieved for it. And of course, writing using algebraic to state y. Oh, wow. Okay, so you also get achieved for this part right here. If you were to write y is equal to 2 minus z. So yeah, that's question 1, 3D. Let's go to the last question here. All right, folks, on to the last question. Now, this type of questions, once again, I'm going to tell you guys this. I've done quite a few tutorials on dealing with exponents and quadratics and exponents, so do check those tutorials out. All right, so what we're going to do is, first thing is get rid of the 8, 4, and 16. The reason we're going to get rid of them is because we're going to rewrite them as 2 squared, which equals to 4, 2 to the power of 3, which equals to 8, and 2 to the power of 4, which equals to 16. So what I've got here is get rid of 4 with 2 squared, get rid of 8 with 2 cubed, and get rid of 16 with 2 to the power of 4. So I'm going to get 2 to the power of 3 to the power of y multiplied by 2 to the power of 2 to the power of y squared minus 8 equals 16, which happens to be 2 to the power of 4. Now, remember that when you have powers of powers, you actually combine, you add the powers together. Oh, sorry, not add. What am I saying? Let's try it again. When you have powers of powers, you multiply the powers. So let me just show you. If you have a to the power of m to the power of n, then this is a to the power of m times n. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I've got 2 to the power of 3 times y, which is 3y, multiplied by 2 to the power of 2 times y squared minus 8, and this is now equal to 2 to the power of 4. Now, I've got to expand that brackets, get rid of the brackets. So I've got 2 to the power of 3y multiplied by 2 to the power of 2y squared minus 16 equals 2 to the power of 4. Now I can combine the powers on the left-hand side, because remember, when you have a to the power of m multiplied by a to the power of n, you get to add the powers. So in this case, it's going to become 2 to the power of 3y plus 2y squared minus 16 equals 2 to the power of 4. Now, here's where we say, well, since the bases are the same, we can now say that the two powers must equal to each other. So when we do this, we just get rid of the 2, don't worry about it anymore, and we're going to write it as 3y plus 2y squared minus 16 equals to 4. And we're going to rearrange this as 2y squared plus 3y minus 16, and we've got minus 4, and this is all equals to 0. Simplifying further, 2y squared plus 3y minus 20 equals to 0. Now, as I said before, if you know how to factorize this, by all means, do it your way. The way I kind of work it out, so 2 times negative 20 is negative 40. So I'm basically looking for, what am I looking for? I'm looking for two numbers that are multiplying to negative 40 and add up to positive 3. So in this case, I'm going to be doing 8 and negative 5. And that's what I'm going to split that 3y as. So I'm going to get 2y squared. So just to recap, I'm going to be, oh, wrong color. Let's try a different color. Oh, definitely not that one either. Jeez, not having fun today. So basically, I'm going to replace that 3 with 8 and negative 5. So I've got 2y squared plus 8 y minus 5y minus 20 equals to 0. So now I need to split them up by parts. So I'm going to split them up as two parts and factorize the left-hand side of it. So I'm going to get 2y bracket y plus 4. And then here, negative 5 is a common factor. And I'm going to get y plus 4 equals to 0. So collecting the common factors. I've got 2y minus 5 and y plus 4 is equal to 0. So just to reiterate that 2y pops from here, minus 5 comes there, and y plus 4 is a common factor. So at this point, I can say that 2y minus 5 is equal to 0, or y plus 4 is equal to 0. So in this case, 2y is equal to minus 5. And then I can say that y is, sorry, not minus 5, just realize that, it's plus 5. Y is equal to 5 divided by 2. So we end up with y is equal to 2.5. You can leave it as 5 over 2, it's not a biggie. And then on this side, I'm going to get y is equal to minus 4. So as you can see, there are two answers for this question. So grades-wise, you need both solutions for an excellence. For merit, you can form a simplified quadratic equation. So I'm thinking about here is where you're looking for a merit. For achieved, doing two of this, so two of them correct will actually get you achieved. Like there's three things that you can do as base, writing it as base with base of 2. Yeah, so there's a couple of other things, but like for achieved, basically that's what you're looking at, you know, just get into the habit of, if you see these numbers, especially they do it with 3, 5, and 2. They don't do it with any other numbers. So just get into the habit of having a look at those kind of patterns and then just rewrite them as powers of 2s or 3s, and you're pretty much good to go. So a bit of advice, guys, just don't leave any questions actually empty. Like don't leave the paper empty. Like try and attempt as many of the questions as possible. Even if you look at a question and you're like, oh, actually I don't know how to do this, just give it a go. You'd be surprised at what you might actually walk away with when you actually answer some of these questions. Hey guys, that is basically it for this video. As always, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and of course subscribe to keep up with the latest content. There should be some playlists popping up. Check them out. Good revision material. And as always, thank you for watching.